Should Zach Charbonnet be starting as running back one over Kenneth Walker? We're going to get into that here on the video for Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner. You're not going to want to miss a single thing of Seahawks content, so make sure you go down and you smash that subscribe button on the video. Now, Seattle's very own Brock Huard made a bold prediction on his radio show, Brock and Salk, just a day ago. And on that video, he said that he believes that Zach Charbonnet should be the starting running back for the Seahawks coming in to week one of the NFL season. Now, I know some of you may not know who Brock Huard is. A lot of the Seattle-born people, the West Coast Seahawks fans, know that Brock grew up in the area. He was a local legend. Obviously, he went and played at UW. His brother, Damon Huard, ended up going to UW as well. Both ended up getting kind of a cup of coffee in the NFL. You can even see Huard right here playing for the old hometown team, playing for the Seahawks in those beautiful, beautiful throwback jerseys. So for those of you who don't know, there's your brief little rundown of who Huard is. Now, he had this to say about Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet is going to start week one versus the 49ers. What a bold prediction from Huard. Just came out and said it. He's been taking in a lot of information from Mike Macdonald, and Mike Macdonald has paid off players who have earned it. Now, Huard's whole point here is that because Zach Charbonnet has been the healthiest running back between the two, he should be the starter. And as soon as I read that clip, I knew I had to go and listen to the audio because my initial knee-jerk reaction, what is he talking about? He's insane. Zach Charbonnet shouldn't be worrying about being the starter with Kenneth Walker. He should be worried about George Helani and his performance in week one of the preseason against the Raiders. The kid was untackleable, right? Kenneth Walker came in, and his big strength is his vision. So you bring an OC, Clint Kubiak, into your organization where he wants to run these long zone schemes. Now, the reason for needing a running back with good vision on these long zone schemes is you need a running back to see where the hole's going to open up because it's going to change from play to play to play. We saw that week one of the preseason. George Helani, multiple times, they ran outside zone to the left, outside zone to the right. And every time the hole opened in a different spot because of which offensive lineman won their one-on-one battle. Sometimes Gray Zabel's going to be able to get the reach. Sometimes Charles Cross isn't going to be able to get the reach and you're going to have to bounce inside. Zach Charbonnet, no offense to the kid, he's a really good running back. He's not known for necessarily having the patience to wait, see where the hole opens up, and then run through. It's why you saw a lot of big-time runs back when Le'Veon Bell was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That patience, that vision, that's what you need. And so I'm initially mad. I'm fuming. I even called up my dad and was like, have you heard this idiot? What is Brock Huard talking about? And then after some reflection, some food, had a Snickers. I'm not always me when I'm hungry. And I kind of thought about it. And I said, hey, you know, Brock Huard's pretty smart. He knows football. Maybe he's on to something. So I pulled up the two-player comp between Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet last year. Now, this isn't totally fair, right? Kenneth Walker, he had some injury issues. He only ended up playing in 11 games last year. Charbonnet played in the full 17. But when you look at the carries, there's something that pops out on the screen to me. You're getting a half yard more from Zach Charbonnet per rush than you would with Kenneth Walker. Then you look at the receiving stats, you're getting even more production from Charbonnet. Now, again, to be completely fair, you had multiple injuries that Kenneth Walker was fighting through. He had the hand, he had the oblique, he had the foot. And we're going to get more into those injury topics and Kenneth Walker's ability to stay healthy here in a second. But I do want to point out, Zach Charbonnet, he's no slouch. Now, I want to hear your opinion before I give mine. I'm a distributor. Think of me as an old school Luke Ridnour, right? I'm trying to pass the rock so that Ray Allen can hit a three or Rashard Lewis can hit a three as well. I want you to pick a running back. If you think Kenneth Walker should be the starter, make sure you go and type 9 in the comments. If you're with Brock Huard and you're starting to see a little bit what he's pointing to, make sure you type 26 in the comments. Now, I talked earlier a little bit about the injury issues for Walker. And I had an old coach, very old, super old, shout out to my old ball coach, Chris Fisk. He used to say, you can't make the club in the tub. And what he's talking about there is the best ability is availability. And that's something that Walker's been having issues with throughout his career, right? We talked about last year. Now, he ended up missing 6 games. In his 3-year career, he's missed 10 games total. So most of his missed games have been from the same season. And he was fighting through, like I said, a core injury. That's going to stay with you for the entire year. A foot injury. Look, I've torn both the bottoms of my feet. I get it. It doesn't heal fast. It doesn't feel good. And as a running back, I don't know if you know this, you need your feet to move well, right? So he's had some injury issues in the past, but was it a one-off? I don't know. We're dealing with more injuries right now in training camp. He returned to practice on Tuesday for the first time in about a week because he had to miss practice time because, again, dealing with that same foot injury. Foot injuries, they seem to linger. They can be career-long things. So if Kenneth Walker's missing all these valuable reps in training camp, what is Charbonnet doing? And Huard's plugged in more than most, and he's come back saying, hey, Charbonnet's going out and he's impressing the coaches right now. He's practicing every day. He's getting those much-needed valuable reps, and he's taking the most of those reps. His own OC, Clint Kubiak, came in, and he had to say this. He said right now they've got top 2 guys, and they're doing great things. But he's very impressed with the mental approach from Charbonnet. Now, a lot of people come out and they think, oh, football player, big, dumb. Ugh. No, you need to be smart, especially in this system. I was talking about the vision of Kenneth Walker. Well, if Charbonnet can see where the hole's going to open up before based on what the defense is doing, you might be able to take advantage and not need that vision that everyone thought Kenneth Walker would put ahead of him in this competition. Now, here's my take. I'm going to sit on the fence. I know I'm cheating. Boo me in the comments. It is what it is. I like what Huard is saying, but I think the approach here with Charbonnet and with Kenneth Walker is to go into a full duo style running back. If you're going to run the football 35, 40 times a game, the 2 of them should account for 90% of the carries, but they should also be at about 50-50 or a 40-60 kind of a split here. Now, the reasoning for that is Kenneth Walker showed that he's already got some injury issues. Well, this is going to keep him healthy because he's going to have less touches when it comes to running the football. Zach Charbonnet, what I haven't been able to really touch on, he's a great pass blocker. And in this offense, you're going to need the running back to add into that passing attack so that we can keep Sam Darnold up and healthy. I had a flashback there to a different quarterback in maroon when it came to their college days. But with Darnold, you have to keep him up and healthy. He struggles when teams are getting a pass rush on him. So you can add Charbonnet in there. Also, Charbonnet, better pass catcher out of the backfield. So you're going to want to make sure that you find a way to use him there. I think if you can mirror and put both of those guys on the field at about 50% of the touches, I think you're going to see this Seahawks offense absolutely explode. And who knows, maybe George Halani, if he keeps performing the way he has been, he'll be able to add in a little bit as that third down back. You don't want to miss a single thing. 1, because you love the Seattle Seahawks, and 2, because you love supporting the channel and you love supporting me because we've just become best friends over the last week. Make sure you go down and you smash that sub button. Now, there have been plenty of people going on to social media following me at Will Ortner on X and on Instagram, and I want to make sure that I can show you some of the content that I'm going to be posting out there. Now, most of my content is going to be Seahawks or Pacific Northwest related. Obviously, going to hype up our Hawks. But every once in a while, I'm going to post a pretty cute picture just like this. And maybe you'll see that and you'll go, hey, I want to make sure that I like that. Sometimes I'm going to post an ugly photo like that. We're still working on pant sizes here in the Ortner household. We'll get better at it. Obviously, you know Chat Sports. We're in Dallas. I always knew I'd be a Cowboy one day. And of course, whenever you listen to me, sometimes you might say, why does this guy speak with authority? Is he a former football player? I did all right over at Central Washington University. Go Cats. Can't wait for game 1 coming up here soon. Yeah, I guess I was okay. Hyping me up a little bit too much over there from the producer chair. But remember, follow me on X. You're going to get a lot of spelling errors, but you're also going to get a lot of great Seahawks content. Thank you all so much for tuning in the video. I'll see you next time.